Okay, ma'am, I will start the session. Ma'am, can you hear me? Sorry, ma'am, I can't hear your voice.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. So, good morning to Ms. Seema Malik and good morning to the participants. We are watching this live session. Welcome to the session on empowering with effective questions. In our daily life, we encounter countless situations where we seek to understand, learn, and make informed decisions. One of the most powerful tools we have at our disposal for acquiring knowledge and facilitating growth and empowering others is the art of asking effective questions. So effective questions goes beyond simply gathering information. It involves asking thoughtful, well-crafted questions that encourage critical thinking, reflection, and self-discovery. These questions have the power to challenge assumptions, inspire creativity, and foster deeper understanding. So before we start Ms. Seema Malik's session, I would like to give some short introduction about her. In the world of education and personal development, there are individuals who possess a unique set of skills and expertise that empower others to achieve their goals and unlock their full potential. Ms. Seema Malik is one such exceptional professional who has made a significant impact in the field. Her expertise extends to IELTS training, equipping students with the necessary tools and techniques to succeed in this internationally recognized English language proficiency test. Before her role as an educator, Ms. Seema Malik is also an ICF, International Coach Federation, certified communication trainer and life coach. With her insightful guidance and support, she helps individuals overcome challenges, set meaningful goals, and create positive change in their personal and professional lives. Ms. Seema Malik's mastery of the English language is another noteworthy aspect of her professional portfolio. As an English language expert, she possesses a deep knowledge of grammar, vocabulary, and effective language usage. At the end, I would like to introduce to the motto of Ms. Seema Malik, empowering individuals to unleash their potential, achieve their goals, and thrive in their personal and professional lives. I would like to hand over this session to Ms. Seema Malik and also thanks a lot for joining us today and over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much for introducing me, Sugandhi. Your opportunity in bringing me is into this opportunity. Your effort to bring me into this opportunity is truly appreciated. Good morning, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here today and discuss a topic that holds immense power and potential in our lives. We live in a world that is filled with questions. From the moment we wake up in the morning until we rest our heads at night, our mind is filled with queries, inquiries. But have you ever stopped to consider the true impact of questions we ask ourselves and to others? In our quest of knowledge and understanding, there is one crucial skill that we all need to master, and that is asking the right questions to get right answers. Wondering what is the fuss about asking questions so much? Why we have to master the art of questioning? We get answers for random questions as well. But I'll state two reasons so that it is easy for you to decide. Number one, by asking the right questions, we engage in a process of continuous learning and growth. We expand our understanding, broaden our horizons, and we embrace the diversity that surrounds us. Number two, by asking the right question, we break the barriers, we unlock new perspectives, and we break every type of barrier of caste, creed, gender, religion, community, and navigate to all the complexities of our personal and professional life. So basically, art of questioning is like a GPS tracker that will help you navigate to the right answers to make your learning journey smooth, as well as it will help you in getting right answers. So number one thing is what makes a question effective. Remember ABC of questioning. It has to be purposeful, it has to be relevant, and it has to be um, It has to be purposeful, it has to be relevant, and most importantly, it has to be thought provoking. Unless and until it has not ignited your curiosity, that question goes waste. So it gives a speaker a chance to reflect, to analyze, and search for answers that basically lie within us. And most importantly, a question can spark a conversation, makes an active engagement, and it creates an environment that helps us to give immense clarity, leads to a better decision making thing, and we can literally act with confidence. But remember, there's always a catch. Like all Sundays are not Sundays, so all questions are not comfortable. There are some questions that push us out of our comfort zones, and they help us to confront the truths that we have been avoiding of lately. So it's not only that we ask questions and we do justice to our understanding and thinking, it hampers the people who are around us. It helps in their growth also. By asking questions, we validate their experiences, their opinions, their perspective, that they do matter in our lives. So basically, we challenge the ordinary and explore the extraordinary. Let us empower ourselves today through this presentation of asking right questions and derive a positive change and unleash our potential for a brighter future. Today in this presentation, I'll be covering a few topics like characteristics of effective questions, role of questions, types of question, and do's and don'ts of question. So I'll just present my screen and we can get going. Empowering through effective questions. The power of asking the right questions for the right answers. Unless and until we do not project a question that is formulated properly, trust me, we are not going to get the answer that will lead us into our problem solving or that will make our journey smooth or that will cut our time and energy. So remember, we have to empower ourselves by asking the right question. Why so much fuss about questioning and why put so much emphasis on asking a right question? Because if you have asked a question properly, if that question is stated properly, trust me, you will have an effective communication because the communication will be more smooth, more clear, more concise. So the communication process is very effective in that manner. Secondly, it will have a critical thinking. Why I'm talking about critical thinking? Because it goes beyond the surface understanding. You delve deeper, you analyze more. So it enhances your critical thinking as well. And thirdly, it will lead to problem solving. When we ask questions, we ask them for a reason. Either we want to gather information, or we want to validate a fact or some reason, or we want to know more about something, or we want a solution for the problem. So, all these things are taken care of if the question is asked to a right person, it is framed properly, it is as per the topic and as per the situation. Now coming the role of questions. Questions play a major role in our lives. Right in the morning when you get up, the first thing you ask, what time is it? Is breakfast ready? Are you coming with me? So the moment we stand up, the moment we get up, or we are right now in our beds also, still we have the questions coming up in our mind and we want answers for it. So questions stimulate curiosity in the minds of people, and that curiosity need to be heard, valued, and answered. Number two, as I have mentioned, encourage critical thinking, goes beyond the surface level of understanding, and you analyze the problem more comprehensively and more deliberately. Then it fosters active engagement. Why I am putting so much fuss about fostering active engagement? Because when you are listening to a person, understanding to a person, and You are not listening to speak, you are listening to understand. Then you have an active engagement between each other. Growth mindset. When you pose a question, you get an answer, then another question, another answer, from answer to a question, and that leads it to a chain reaction. So you come to know about so many things. So your mind starts growing, and it has a mindset that makes you go from A to B, B to C, and to Z. Now cultivate critical inquiry. Critical inquiry is very, very, very important, because if you ask a thought provoking question, you are going to cultivate critical inquiry. You encourage open mindedness. You may expend clarity. You seek clarity. You probe deeper. And basically, you encourage collaboration also. So, critical inquiry is something that a thought provoking questions can lead to. Promotes active listening. Active listening to fully understand what a person is saying makes very, very easy for you to formulate your question. And it gives you or allows you the freedom to ask relevant question, freedom to ask purposeful question, freedom to ask insightful questions. Last is it enhances your problem solving skills. So how come problem solving skills? As I have mentioned, when you pose a problem to somebody and somebody answers the question, and you get an insight towards the problem with a different perspective. Instead of assuming, now clarity comes in the picture. So, questions help us to gather all these important things that are very, very crucial in taking better decisions, in leading to our goals, in expanding our horizons, and in our journey of career as personal as well as professional growth. Now, we right from our childhood, from school to college to university to job, we have encountered types of question. Unlimited basic question that comes in our mind is a yes no question. Are you going to the party? It answer is either yes or no. What's in the are you coming with me to school? Yes or no. Do you want me to drive to office? Yes or no. So these are yes no question where there is no scope of pondering much. You just want a clear fact. You want a stated truth. Then we have WH question. We all have heard in our mythological stories that we have polygamy, where in Mahabharata, Draupadi has five husbands. But here, through WH questions, I'm stating a new fact that is five wives and one husband. That is five WH questions. When, why, where, what, which. So basically, when you are asking a WH questions, it becomes easy for you. It gives you a precise information about location. It gives you information about time, about place. And one husband is how. So basically, if you are practicing this five WH questions and one how, then your journey is much smoother when it comes to questioning part. Where did you go on a vacation? It gives you an idea about a location, about a place. Now we have subject verb inversion questions. These questions are like, for example, she's going to the store. Is she going to the store? So we have just switched the places of verb and the subject, and we have a ready-made question. These type of questions are taught to us in school. Whenever they tell you make an interrogative question or make a question out of a statement, you do this simple thing, that is subject verb inversion. Though we are not taught in detail about this thing, we are just told, "Ki, okay, switch the places between a subject and verb." So these are the questions. And last is your tag questions. Tag questions are the questions where tag questions are where it is a statement followed by a question. For example, she's pretty, isn't she? So you have given a positive statement and a negative question. So that is question tags. You all have read about this in your 10th grade board classes, or even in your basic grammar in university as well. Now comes types of questions. So when we talk about types of question, remember we have different types apart from yes, no, subject inversion, question tags, or WH questions. These are the questions that are relevant in your coaching journey, in your counseling sessions, in your therapy sessions, and whenever we want more information, we refrain using simple questions and we dig deeper into these type of questions. Number one is open-ended question. Number two is close-ended. Number three is reflective. Number four, scaling. Number five is probing. Number six is hypothetical. And number seven is your clarifying questions. But before taking you into the realm of these questions, I want you to understand the basic questioning technique. There is a sentence structure that comes in before asking question. Number one, how to place verb, pronoun, subject, subject complement, helping verb into a correct format so that your question is clear, it is concise, and it is not ambiguous. So remember, the five things are main parts of a question. Number one is your question word. It can be WH word, it can be a helping verb, it can be H word, it can be anything. So your question word followed by an auxiliary verb. Auxiliary verb is your helping verb which does not have three forms of the verb. Okay, then you have your subject. Subject can be your noun as well as pronoun. For example, Seema, or he, she, whatever you, then pronoun that suits it. Then is your main verb. Main verb is the verb that has three forms like eat, ate, eaten, or go, went, gone, followed by complement of the verb or complement of the subject or complement of the object. So this is the sentence structure. Now there is a sentence that is given to you. Question word is what? Auxiliary verb is did. Subject is you, a noun or a pronoun. Main verb is eat. And for breakfast is your complement. So, what did you eat for breakfast? A question is very clear here. You will either say upma, poha, parantha, anything. So now you know. If I ask, okay, you ate what for breakfast? Now you don't know whether I'm asking a question, I'm putting a statement, I'm inquiring something. Is it an imperative sentence? So here the things are not clear. So if you want right answer, you have to ask right question. And for right question, you have to formulate the question correctly, grammatically correct. So here the grammatical correct structure is question word followed by helping or auxiliary verb, followed by subject, followed by main verb, and then the complement of the subject. Now comes questions that can not be answered with a simple yes or no, or question that requires elaborate responses. So these questions are called open-ended question. For example, if I'll ask, how did you feel today? So when I ask you, how did you feel today? Then the thing is, okay, I don't have to answer yes or no. Then you will answer, I'm feeling fine. I'm a little sad or I'm upset. I'm not feeling that energetic. So this is an open-ended question. Now I'll ask another question. Why aren't you feeling energetic? Then you will come up with another answer. So here we am asking for an elaborate response. I will not end up with a yes or no. So why we ask open-ended questions? We ask open-ended questions so that the speaker express their opinion. Speaker expresses their perspective and he expresses his ideas as well. That's an open-ended question. Now comes close-ended question. The same I gave you an idea about yes or no question, where the response is very brief, often a yes or a no, to gather specific facts. So very brief response is given to you. I answer ends up in a yes or no. When I want to gather specific facts, when I want to, what you say, gather exact facts, I will ask. Why, when, in which situations I will ask these questions? Where brevity is necessary. When I have to confirm details, when I have to confirm facts. And When I want to avoid all type of misunderstanding and I want to get concrete data and information, I will ask you a close-ended question. So specific, seek answers, concise answers, facts, figures, required, and no ambiguity, no misunderstanding. I will ask you a close-ended question. For example, did you finish the task? Yes or no? So I have got my fact. I got my clear understanding. If you have finished the task, well and good. If you haven't, then I have another question for you. Is the meeting at 3 p.m.? So I have reinstated the fact. Yes or no. So there is no ambiguity here. No, nothing that will lead to any sort of confusion or misunderstanding. So whenever you want to avoid any type of misunderstanding, confusion, ambiguity, and brevity is required, means concise form is required, please ask close-ended questions. Then are the probing questions. These questions are basically used by doctors, counselors, therapy session clinical psychologist, and moreover in the coaching federation in ICF, where I was taught about a probing question is a question that will help you dig deeper, that will seek detailed information or clarification. So this is something that will help you into probing. Why? Why I have to get into a probing question? Because it will get a conversation, a discussion on. It will promote open dialogue between two people. So to promote an open dialogue, to promote a discussion, I will have a probing question. Example, can you provide me more details? Now, more details in terms of what? How are you feeling after your therapy? So now the person will say, okay, I'm feeling a better, much better. I was not okay. That's one question. If I'll ask you another question, a probing question, where I will ask you to go deep down into your understanding and explore some things that you have been avoiding, but the answer lies within you. Then I'll ask you what idea, and when for example, I'll ask you when you felt motivated last time. Now you will go back into your memory lane. Okay, when I was motivated last, and what was the reason of my motivation, and what made me so motivated that I still remember that. So you are delving deep down into somebody's understanding, and to reach to the fact, reach to the answer, reach to the understanding. And it is basically the most uncomfortable part of your memory which you have been avoiding. So sometimes to delve deeper into your deeper understanding, not the surface understanding, we ask probing questions. Next comes reflective questions. Whenever we have an introspection of thoughts and feelings, of somebody's thoughts and feelings, we will ask reflective questions. We want to be more self-aware. We want to think more, introspect our thoughts. We want to identify the area of our growth. We want to identify our strength. We want to identify our weakness. And so when we identify our areas of improvement, strength, and weakness, we will have a better decision making skills. And end of the day, your decisions, what makes you today. You are there as a student learning some form, or you are working, or you are teaching. These are all are the decisions that you have taken after reflecting, introspectioning your thoughts and feeling. Example, how did you feel? Example, what are the reasons behind your decision? For somebody asking me why you have made a career change, what are the reasons behind your decision? Now I will introspect. Now I will go down into my memory lane. Did I want to be a trainer? Was it my dream to be a coach? Do I like speaking? So there are 100 of questions that will erupt into my mind. It will stimulate my curiosity and it will answer my question. And then it will reinstate whether my decision was correct or not. Then we have hypothetical questions. Hypothetical questions are like the questions that explore imaginary situations, some speculative questions that comes to your mind. What would you create with unlimited sources that are given to you? Or what will happen? Or what changes will you bring into the society if you become prime minister of our country? Okay, if you have to occupy the chair of Elon Musk for a day, what will you do? So these are hypothetical questions. These are speculative questions. They explore our imaginary prospect of our mind. So, why we ask these? So that we have innovative solutions. Why we ask this? Because that is the basic safest area for our brainstorming. So, we'll brainstorm. Okay, this sounds good. Let me do this. Examples. What are the examples for the same? What if you could change a historical monument? What if you could change a historical year of our country? Or what if you could change a historical situation? What it will be? So these are hypothetical questions, and now you will come with an innovative solution because every person is different. Every person has a different thought process. So we have innovative solution. We have a bank of solutions with us, and it's a very good way of brainstorming. Now comes scaling questions. So whenever somebody asks, these questions are asked when survey people come to you. These are the question asked by a doctor. How are you feeling today? Tell me on a scale of 10. So you'll say, okay, 5. Now the doctor will ask, why on a scale of 5? Then you will delve deeper. So probing is also happening, scaling is also happening. So whenever you go to a restaurant or you just book a ticket or something, this is the first question that erupts on your screen. You are asked to rate your experience on a scale of 1 to 10. That's your scaling question. Why we ask scaling questions? Because scaling questions give us more clarity. They help us in identifying our strengths. They help us to know the areas of improvement, what we need to do. For example, somebody asks me, tells me to write an essay. I wrote it, and then they ask me to read it aloud. I read it, and then they ask me where you will rate yourself on a scale of 10. So when I have read it, and I know after reading it, okay, there are certain points that I have missed. After listening to fellow contestants, I realize that I have certain loopholes in it. Then I'll say, okay, 7. So now I know. If I'll say 9, they will ask why. Then I'll say better writing skill, better vocabulary, better sentence structure. So you know your strength and why not you have given yourself 9 and 1. Then I can say, okay, I should have been more creative, more imaginative in my writing. So you know your strength, you know your weakness, and you know your areas of improvement also. For example, this question is very basic. Rate your job satisfaction or you rate your experience with so and so app on a scale of 1 to 10. That is a scaling question. Now comes clarifying questions. Clarifying questions are to seek further information, to seek better understanding. Whenever we have some ambiguity with somebody, some miscommunication with somebody, we want to clear the situation, we want to clarify something, so there is no room for doubt. So these are the questions that you ask that point of time, either to your parent, to your friend, to your boss, to your colleague, anybody. So you want to clarify the scene. You want to clarify any doubts that are raising in your mind. So these questions are clarifying confusion to eliminate any sort of confusion and to ensure better understanding. Example, can you provide more details? Can you explain that differently? So if you give examples to clarify your situation, then you have reinstated a better understanding, much clarity. Now, characteristics of a good question. A good question should be short. Nobody is interested in answering a question that is very lengthy, a question that is not thought provoking, a question that is not properly directed. So formulate a question in such a manner that it has few words, it's a short question. Number two, it has some thoughtfulness and it provokes your thought, and it's directed to a person, to a particular situation. You are not beating around the bush. Number two, unambiguous. There should be no room of confusion when you are asking a question. The person should be able to comprehend what you are trying to ask. It has to be relevant to the present scenario. It has to be relevant to what you are teaching, doing, speaking. For example, if I'm teaching you the art of questioning and you ask me a question, ma'am, how important is it in the machine learning or search engine optimization? Is this question relevant? No, because it creates confusion. Number one, it is not my genre where I am talking about, and it is not subject related that I am teaching. So your question has to be unambiguous, it has to be relevant, and it has to be objective related. What objective you want to achieve from this question? It has to be clearly stated, and the question has to be straightforward. Okay, so remember, it has to be analytical also, it has to be comprehensive when you are asking a question. Don't ask these. Just give me a second. I will stop sharing it here because just give me a second. I will share my screen now again so that it is much clear with examples. So don't do's and don'ts of something that we are talking about here is closed-ended, hypothetical, scaling, clarifying characteristics of a good question. We have done this and we have reached to this point also now. Next is don't ask these. What are these questions that we should avoid asking? So when you are saying don't ask these questions means that they should not be related to somebody's personal letter. For example, if somebody is reading an email, if somebody is reading a project report, if somebody is reading a memo, please avoid going and asking what's written in it. Don't peep into the mail. That's a bad manner. Number two is confidential. So, whenever somebody is reading any document on the screen or in the file, or something that a person is not intended to share with you and closes when you are there, please do not ask anything related to it. It can be sensitive, it can be confidential. Number three is money related. Please avoid asking questions that are related to money. Why I am saying so? Because money related questions are very personal. Some people don't like to share their income, some people don't like to share their savings, some people don't want to share their financial plans with you. So stop asking that. Next comes, there are certain do's and don'ts. So I will just elaborate on don'ts now because that is very, very important. We all are aware about do's. Okay, the question has to be correctly formulated, it has to be on the related to the situation and so on. But what you should not do, you should not ask any inappropriate question or any unprofessional questions. Questions that are very casual, questions that are offensive. For example, you are into a professional setting, you are in an office, and you just go randomly to a colleague and ask, "Oh, I saw you yesterday going with a to a movie with a lady." Please, that is unprofessional. That is not related to your profession. So you should avoid asking such questions. They are inappropriate. Secondly, sensitive or confidential questions. You should avoid asking confidential questions. Sensitive, it can where you have no authority. So without any valid reason or authority, please refrain asking these type of question. It can be related to your office, it can be related to your personal life, it can be related to any scenario where you have no authority to peep in. Avoid asking. Number three is don't ask personal questions related to age, related to marital status, related to personal belief. People are asking these questions randomly to people, and people don't like it. Trust me, these are the questions that put you into a bad picture. Okay, this person doesn't have basic mannerism. Please avoid asking any offensive or discriminatory questions. Why I'm saying any offensive or discriminatory question? Because when the question is related to the belief system, when the questions are related to gender, when the questions are related to religion, when the questions are related to any pertaining race, and these days, especially sexual orientation questions, should be avoided asking because they create a biased mindset, they create a stereotyped mindset and perpetuate the same. Now coming to tools and techniques. What is a good question and what are the tools and techniques of a good question? For example, there are various types of question. We have read 7 plus 4, that makes it 11. But apart from that, remember, whenever you are forming a question, the thumb rule is that it should have 5 wives or 1 husband. It should cover some of the things: when, where, why, which, whom, whose, how, these things, because they will give you an elaborate response. Number 2 is 2 C's. The first C stands for clarity and the other C stands for concise. Your question has to be short, clear. So in few words, you should be able to put the information that you want. So nobody will answer a question that is four-liner. Okay, for example, how are you feeling today? Last time you told me that is not good. What make you think that it wasn't good? What changes have you seen? Please, nobody will answer. Go step by step. How are you feeling today is the first step. That will take you, go from A to Z. Don't jump from B to C and F to G. Next is examples. Quote examples while asking questions, or suggest an example, or state an example, or give reference of an example, because through examples, more clarity is there, better understanding is there. So make sure that you ask examples. Requesting examples will help you make abstract concepts will become more concrete. Okay, better understanding, and you will have much detailed responses. Avoid any sort of assumptions when you are asking a question. A good question should have no assumption at all. Please don't jump to the conclusions. Okay, instead ask open-ended questions. When you ask open-ended questions, you will have much detailed answer. You will have information to clarify your doubts. Practice active listening. When you are listening to understand, it gives you a room to formulate a question that is relevant, that is purposeful, and that gives you an insightful answer. Next is dig deeper. Probing question steps in here. Your question, if you want a detailed response, please probe. Use probing question technique, because probing questions are some questions that will make your life easy, that will make give you better understanding, that will have so much of clarity that things become easier for you. For example, if you are a children like tech solutions, so I'm not assuming, I have read it, the students are here from math and science background. For example, if I'm an educator or I'm a math teacher and somebody asked me to ask a question, so how I will ask a question? There are two ways. I can ask students, find the volume of a, I can give a complex geometrical shape, any shape. This is one way. Then I'll suggest, okay, I'll provide you formula, put in the figures, and your volume is there. The other way of asking, if you want to cultivate critical thinking, if you want to cultivate critical inquiry in students, how you will ask? Students, let us find a way let us find ways so that we steps or ways to simple ways to find the volume of the desired shape. Now it goes beyond putting formula. Now you will use your information, your knowledge, your learning of basic shapes, and you will find a strategy so that you can easily find the volume of that. So there are no bad answers, there are bad questions. So whenever we are asking a question, make sure what answer you are looking for. If you are a teacher, if you are a random person, what type of answer are you expecting? Are you open to any sort of an answer, or do you want answer related to this topic? Then put the context in the question. By asking a general question, you will never get a specific answer. So if you want information about a particular word, a particular genre, a particular field, please use context. Most importantly, what you should avoid using any technical terms with people in asking questions if they are not from your field. Number two, using jargon words because everybody is not aware of it. Number three is using acronyms. And number four is using short forms. So please avoid any technical term, jargon, short forms, and acronyms when you are formulating a question because the person will never ever understand that question. That question creates ambiguity and confusion. Now, if I am coming back to the part where we are discussing different type of questions, I have one basic thing to say. When you are asking a question, remember two things. What are those two things? That your question should not, my point here is your question should not invoke any type of controversy, a, and your question should not be crossing the limit where a person feels uncomfortable. So when I was telling you that your questions should be in the light of clarity and concise, follow the 5 W's and 2 C's clearly, and don'ts are as I have told you. For example, if you are in a professional setting or if you are in an educational setting, what you will do? If you are in a professional setting, questions facilitate active engagement, brainstorming sessions, decision making process. And by inviting all the diverse viewpoints of different people through well crafted questions, you unlock collective measures, you foster innovation, and you have enabled effective problem solving thing. Number two, if you are in an educational setting, by posing questions that require critical thinking, by posing questions that stimulate intellectual curiosity, by posing questions that enhance your learning journey, you have created a knowledge bank, and that knowledge bank can be used. So when I'm talking about different type of questions, the role of thoughtful question steps in. For example, just a random example, you are in a business meeting or you are in an official meeting, and a team leader asks the colleagues, can you share your insights that how can we improve this so and so project's efficiency? So now he has given you an open forum to put your ideas on the plate. So this well-crafted questions has started effective communication, has started active participation, has encouraged all the individuals to reflect to their perspective, share their perspectives, and it promotes a very collaborative work environment. And the flow of information will pass on and on. And most importantly, now open dialogue. It's one to many, one to one, and everything. So basically, a thoughtful question acts like a catalyst. Okay. And that catalyst will have meaningful discussion. That catalyst will help the team members to share their expertise and valuable input. So collectively, now you're working towards innovative solutions. So through the power of right questions, effective communication is nurtured, a strong dynamic team is there, and a much better outcome will be visible. So whenever somebody asks you about your question, so next time, whenever you are asking or answering a question to somebody, make sure that your question is thoughtful, it is relevant, and most importantly, it is purposeful. Now, I have completed my session of whatever I have to share with you on different type of questions. So if you have any questions, we can answer them.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks for amazing session. And some participants asking some questions.
Okay.
Questions. How can asking effective questions contribute to personal growth and self-reflection?
Okay. For example, like I have told you, when you are asking effect questions effectively, there are three things that are happening simultaneously. You have sparked a conversation, you have initiated a dialogue, and when you are one to one with a person, then the person feels free to share their point of view, and you don't assume anything. So it leaves the room for assumptions, and there is no confusion and ambiguity. So now you can creatively, or you can directly ask a person what you should do. That helps in your personal growth for a reason, because now the person is not inhibit or hesitant to share his point of view, because you have asked directly objective related questions.
Okay,
And
ma'am. And in what ways can effective questioning foster critical thinking and problem-solving skills?
okay. For example, critical thinking goes basically beyond surface level understanding. For a very comprehensive and very analytical approach, you have to ask a thought provoking question. That thought provoking question go deeper into the subject matter, gives you a room for analyzing various factors and different perspective also. Now you are into a thoughtful discussion where out of the box thinking is happening. So when out of the box thinking is happening, students are encouraged to evaluate every information, to evaluate all the evidences, and then weigh different possibilities. Okay, is this right? Is this wrong? And then the teacher stimulates critical thinking skills in the students by giving them the room to go out of the or think beyond the stereotype box.
Okay. And can you provide some examples how asking thought-provoking questions can inspire creativity and innovation?
Okay, for if you have to ask a thoughtful question, for example, a thoughtful question is where it is purposeful. It has to fulfill a purpose. If it is that question is not fulfilling a purpose, then that question is completely a waste. So the first question thing that I have told you about ABC of any type of what you call questioning is relevant, purposeful, and thought provoking. So whenever somebody is asking you, when you have to do a thoughtful question, it has to be effective b- by working together collectively on one thing. Flow of information has to be there. Second thing, collaborative environment will be created. Third thing, time for reflection and decision is there. Fourth thing. So now meaningful discussion where participants reflect on the questions and encouraging them to challenge the stereotype notion fosters ideas, fosters collaborative environment, and then you tend to respect each other's ideas. Now if, for example, you have asked me how to provide for innovative solution. If you are sitting in a meeting and you have to get a solution for something, there are two ways to get. There is one thing that I have practiced is a world cafe model, where you can make people sit in two groups and then you give them a topic. So once you give them a topic, okay, now you have to think and find a solution. The same topic is given to the other batch also, just like we sit in a cafe. And then one person can stay there and the other four can move to another, and the other four from that table can come here, and that one person who is sitting will act as a ambassador or can act as a somebody who will initiate the conversation. So when you are introspecting a question from 10 different perspectives, you will challenge the basic root cause. And your reflection will go deeper and discussion will be formulated much quickly and easier, leading to problem solving solutions.
Yeah, okay, ma'am, thanks. And how can leaders and managers utilize the effective questioning to empower and motivate their teams?
Okay, leaders has to be very clear in their questioning. Their questions has to be very concise, and they have to practice empathy while asking questions, because you have to consider the feeling of others, perspective of others before asking questions. And leader has to go and take the team together. So he has to practice empathy while asking question. He has to approach difficult topics with empathy, and his questions has to be respectful as well as inclusive, so that nobody feel left out. So when a leader has to ask question, he has to ask in a collaborative manner, as it is from one to many rather than from one to one. So he can say, okay, give me solutions, or let's work out a solution pattern for so and so problem, so that our project is effectively delivered on the due date. And whenever he is asking questions, a leader, he has to leave no room for any type of assumptions, because assumptions will take your time and energy and will result into an answer that cannot be implemented wisely. So he has to be clear, concise, without any assumptions, and practice empathy while asking questions to his team or to his department.
Okay, and what role do effective questions play in building strong interpersonal relationships and enhancing communication skills?
Okay, so now questions, as I have mentioned, they have numerous benefits. They critical inquiry, they will have cultivate critical thinking, stimulate curiosity. Now we are interpersonal when we are dealing one to one. So when a person asks a question, they indirectly, directly, we become curious to know what happens next. Okay, so that is one. So your effective questioning comes in. Then active engagement. There is a very basic difference between listening and hearing. We listen to understand and we hear to respond. So when a person is practicing active listening, active engagement will come. So when you have asked a question and the person is paying attention to what you are, then gives you an immediate idea to formulate your next question from that very conversation. And it will really lead to active engagement between two people, and the communication skills will be enhanced, or we'll have an effective communication setup between those two persons, for a reason, because you have practiced active listening, and through active listening it results into active engagement. And questions play a very major role here, for a reason, because you are listening somebody to understand what they are stating, and then formulate your next question.
Okay, and how can educators incorporate effective questioning techniques to create an engaging and interactive learning environment?
Like, I have been an educator for quite a number of years. Children get bored very easily, and same goes with students, whether they are in school, in secondary, or in university. To engage them, if you are putting a question that doesn't ignite a spark of conversation or curiosity, the entire teaching goes waste. So, to initiate a fruitful conversation or learning between a teacher and a student, the questions play a major role. So your question should be direct. It should be related to the topic. For example, we are sitting in a class, an English class, where a teacher is teaching noun, and out of the box, she is asking, "Where did you keep that?" So that comes something that a student is not aware of. But if she will ask, tell me any five nouns from the class, the student will be easier to answer those questions. They'll find it easy because the question is related. You are teaching that particular topic. So make your questions direct, make your questions straightforward, make your question relevant to the topic you are teaching, to make your teaching learning journey smooth.
Yeah, okay, and what strategies can be employed to encourage individuals to express their own wisdom and find solutions to their challenges through the effective questioning?
See, I have told you as effective questioning promotes active learning also. So if the question is effective, your learning graph will go like this. If your question is relevant, your learning graph will go like this. If your question is effective, then we have a deeper engagement and effective communication will take place because then we are listening to understand the system. And it supports basically your collaborative learning because you are learning in a group and your learning is directly related to the person who is sitting next to you because the next question or the answer given by that person is going to add into your learning graph. It empowers learner by building their confidence and enhancing their communication skills.
Yeah, okay. How can asking open-ended questions promote active listening and empathy in conversations?
See, open-ended questions are questions which where we get a detailed response. So when we want a detailed response, then we have to pay attention to what a person is talking about so that we can formulate our next question from the answer that that person is providing. So when a person is listening to the person, you have an active engagement. The person who is talking knows that this person is listening me and is understanding what I'm telling. So you have an effective engagement that is going on, effective communication that is going on, and by practicing active listening, you ask next relevant and insightful question from strengthening active listening and active engagement more.
Okay, ma'am. And can you share specific techniques for asking questions that challenge assumptions and encourage diverse perspectives?
Ask examples. Request examples wherever you have any diverse or challenging situation because only examples can clarify the abstract concept. Only examples will lead to better understanding. Only examples will give you a detailed response. And use 5W technique or one how technique if you are not able to get the desired answer and if you think that the conversation or the topic is going haywire, please stick to 5 whys. Otherwise, you should ask for example. And whenever approaching a difficult topic, make sure you are sensitive to it, make sure you are respectful towards it. Then only the conversation will become engaging. Otherwise, the person sitting in front of you will be very disinterested.
Okay, ma'am, everything is nice. And I have two questions from my side.
Please ask.
How might advancements in natural language processing and human-computer interaction improve the effectiveness of question answering systems?
Can you just repeat that again? I missed some words.
Okay, how might advancements in natural language processing and
Yes.
human-computer interaction improve the effectiveness of question answering systems?
Now we all are aware about Chat GPT. That is one AI tool that is ruling the world right now. But if you have noticed when you put a question to the computer generating system or somewhere, then you have to provide cues also. So when you are asking a question to a computer skill or through this where AI tools are used or where technology is used, make sure you provide specific keywords so that you get the desired answer. So your cues, your keywords while asking a question will lead to desired answers, whether it's human, whether it's machine. Everybody catches the keyword, the main word, or the cue that is given to them. Their mind start thinking and computer start processing on the cue that is given to them. So make sure that you formulate it properly after a research or after finding a synonym or an antonym for the same. Otherwise, your answer will not be related to what question you have asked for.
Yeah, okay. And what impact might virtual and augmented reality have on entertainment, education, and other industries in the coming years?
VR and AR virtual and this AR thing is first we were living in the real world. Post COVID, we turned to VR. Now we are moving to AR. So now all these three things are experienced by a human. So now when this virtual reality is stating into this, no doubt, there is no two doubt that AR is making things easy. Augmented reality is making things so damn easy that clarification is of another level. Clarity of concepts is of another level. Clarity of any concept becomes so easy that it seems a cakewalk for a person to understand all these things. But when VR and AR are combined together, then a real person who is sitting in front of the screen learns much more than the books or much more than his own capacity or her own capacity.
Yeah, okay, ma'am.
And
I
it will impact our future generations and our future learning for a simple reason that when every second person is glued to a learning that goes beyond a certain set of instructions, then that learning becomes more fun, more enjoyable, and you learn more through practicing and you learn more through something that you enjoy learning.
Yeah, okay, ma'am. Everything is fine. Okay, the questions is that's all for from the participants. The
Okay,
answers are very useful. I hope the access and that the participants can understand about that.
okay.
Okay, ma'am. So finally, first and foremost, I would like to express our heartfelt appreciation to Ms. Seema Malik for gracing us with her presence and sharing her profound knowledge and expertise. The session has been enlightening, thought-provoking, and transformative, providing us with invaluable insights into the art of asking effective questions. We would like to express our sincere gratitude to Ms. Seema Malik for her dedication and passion in empowering individuals through the skillful use of questions. Her session has opened our eyes to the power of well-crafted questions in fostering critical thinking, encouraging self-reflection, and facilitating personal and professional growth. Furthermore, we would like to express our appreciation to all the participants for their active engagement and insightful contributions during the session. Your presence and enthusiasm have made this event a resounding success. So thank you all and have a wonderful again. And thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Sugandhi. That was really nice. If somebody wants to reach me, this is my mobile, my email ID, my LinkedIn profile, and my Instagram profile is visible to you all on the screen. And whenever you have any query or if you want to learn or delve more about coaching or communication training, I am always available to help you out. And thanks a lot for giving this opportunity to me. It was really a great learning experience for me as well, because when you start telling something somebody, then you reinstate your knowledge again and it settles deep down. Thank you, Sugandhi, and thank you, TechTem Solution, for providing this opportunity to me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Same to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Settles deep down. Thank you, Sugandhi, and thank you, TechTem Solution, for providing this opportunity to me.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.